Titans gathered, armies formed, and one of the two biggest leaders at the helm, a monster war on the horizon, with the possibility of a new alpha being introduced, and a more in-depth history lesson about Hollow Earth are just some of the new changes Godzilla 3 could bring to the table, all of which enhancing the idea of the MonsterVerse franchise rising through the ranks. Recap.
My God, Zilla.
One of the biggest battles that only leveled entire cities, but also leveled the global box office, was between Godzilla and Kong, the fourth movie entry as part of the MonsterVerse. The franchise has had its ups and downs in recent years, but despite all that, the anticipations and the good reviews from the critics and fans were a good sign that the franchise is finally bouncing back, and big things, metaphorically, are on the horizon. So one of the questions that have raised the stakes of the future of the MonsterVerse is in which direction will the franchise go after Godzilla vs. Kong? The battle we mentioned before managed to have one victor, and that was Godzilla swimming into the sea, leaving audiences wondering if there will ever be a rematch between the two sometime in the future. With Godzilla's future way ahead of the question of whether there will be one for him, knowing that a third movie is going to get released, we have yet to see an even bigger battle happening soon. But more on that a bit later. History. The first movie we got to create the subgenre was Kong's 1933 movie, King Kong, a movie that never managed to achieve the success of its Japanese rival, but it could be the one to emerge the entire MonsterVerse moving forward. As of today, we can certainly say that Hollow Earth, an entire world within our world from where the Titans hail from, is a concept in the MonsterVerse which will play a big part in what is coming up, and is certainly Kong's new home after the events of Godzilla vs. Kong. Kong at his new home was able to learn about his ancestry, where he discovered new monsters, accepted his status as a monarch, and is now aware of an ancient conflict that encompasses his and Godzilla's race. However, one tiny detail in the form of ancient murals within the temple where Kong's throne room is located suggests that an even bigger threat is coming, the World Serpent. That is, if the Redditors are to be believed, or it could all just be one giant theory, a very good one that never came to be, but we will have to wait and see for us to be sure about it. The Hollow Earth is not only placing Kong at the forefront, but it is also opening one giant door, an entirely new world to be discovered, with Godzilla having a huge word to say something about it all. No matter what the case may be, the MonsterVerse exists and is now the center of attention, and one blockbuster franchise which could go on to be one of the biggest in Hollywood, but definitely behind the likes of the Fast and Furious franchise, the DCEU, and the unprecedented and the most popular franchise of them all, the MCU. Thus, put in short, the third Godzilla movie could go on to be yet another new project that would experiment with a ton of new visuals, tone, and ever-changing acts between humans and Titans. The inconsistent and widely unknown MonsterVerse could be one of the new kids on the block that can deliver the kind of big screen thrill ride we need. And with that in mind, we are certainly rooting for things to go the right way. After all, we all deserve it, right? MonsterVerse. We have somewhat of a clue as to where the Godzilla 3 movie could go next, and according to many, this movie can do what Godzilla vs. Kong didn't, by sending Titans to war, and with a plot description about the movie saying that there is a monster war coming up, something on a whole another level than what we saw in Godzilla vs. Kong, which was so little when compared to what we expected, a battle between two Titans. However, the luck might be turning in our favor, as our expectations will probably be fulfilled in the third Godzilla installment, the proper War of Titans. Thanks to the mass awakening caused by Ghidorah and the Orca, the MonsterVerse is now jam-packed with Titans, an entirely different kind of battle on the horizon. And not only three monsters getting the proper showcase, just what the case in Godzilla vs. Kong was, the opening credits of that movie will serve the third sequel of Godzilla in a big way, as we can finally see all Rodan, Behemoth, Methuselah, Sela, and a third Muto in the upcoming movie. None of the monsters introduced in Godzilla King of the Monsters got a shot in either of the two latest movies. However, that doesn't mean that they will not return in the third one. There is a high chance that room will be given to them, or the entire world to say the least. Now that Hollow Earth is the name of the game in probably all of the upcoming MonsterVerse movies, the MonsterVerse could also introduce some old favorites from Toho's library, which could all become participants in the before-mentioned Monster War. Very good additions while we are at that too. Monster War setup. One of the biggest disappointments came with Godzilla vs. Kong, as it set up a monster war, but one that didn't happen in the movie, which was all expected, with the movie going in an entirely different direction. According to Rebecca Hall's Eileen Andrews, the ancestors of Godzilla and Kong were involved in a Titan war thousands of years ago, a battle that started in the Hollow Earth world, ending with Kong's species relocating to Skull Island. Not much is known about the battle, but one thing is certain. The battle had numerous participants. Since Godzilla became the alpha of the Titans, it would have only been fitting for him to bring his new minions to the play. But for a number of reasons, it didn't come to be. One issue or an obstacle would be the status of Kong as a loner. Not a fair battle, with no previous setups as to Kong having an army of his own. Then there was also the film's focus. The involvement of Toho monsters would place the entire movie in a weird state, forcing it in a different direction by nature. When everything is considered, the movie did well by the title, as it showed the big clash between Godzilla and Kong. And even though the monster war didn't happen as of yet, that doesn't mean that it won't be in the upcoming third Godzilla movie, a modern Titan war. While we are at changes the MonsterVerse franchise could potentially bring to the table is full-blown out Titan war, which would mark an event, a first of its kind, a modern-day war unique when compared to anything else up until now. The idea of monsters forming armies and battling it out has been there for a long time now. The first hint towards it came when Ghidorah secured the alpha position by beating Rodan. After that, several Titans answered his call and began to do his bidding, with Godzilla vs. Kong diving even deeper into the concept by the discussion of the previous Titan war, one that occurred off the screen in a distant past, the one we mentioned before. A war of this kind would be great because we would see Kong join forces with some of his old allies in the likes of Rodan and Angurius. This could pose a very interesting take on the matter, which could see Godzilla 3 tipping the scales in the Hollow Earth world. A story in which the villain could actually stand a chance at winning by having his own helpers as well, which is very rare nowadays, and a big change from the ordinary, with everything certainly being in favor of having the best use of the potential of the MonsterVerse. On a related note, tell us down in the comments below, what are your thoughts on the MonsterVerse so far, and what do you think Godzilla 3 will bring to the table with its release, and for the future of the franchise as well. But also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you would like to see more videos like this in the future. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.